Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Amy Giroux, reporting to you live from my home in Gatineau, Quebec, to yours, to deliver what we like to call a global vision, some great news. Over the past few weeks, we have taken you, our viewers, across the country to connect with leaders in our communities who have come to share their advice and stories with you in these challenging COVID times. Today, I'm pleased to have join us live from the set here on Some Great News, Jean-Pierre Giroux, President of the Excellence in Manufacturing Consortium. Jean-Pierre, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here, Amy. This is a special time, and I know you're working hard with spreading the good news, so I'm super happy to be part of it.
Yes, well, as you've seen us, if you've been following our Some Great News story, along the way, we like to profile different industries and sectors. So I thought it would be great, since we have you here live on set, if you could speak to our viewers a little bit about the manufacturing sector and any challenges and stories you may have to share during these COVID times.
Absolutely. It's been, let's say, a roller coaster. I would say in the last 10 weeks since March 16. That was the kind of a milestone in manufacturing. I would qualify this as the good, the bad, and the ugly. Maybe I could start with the good. There's been a lot of good stories out there. We're seeing manufacturing, Canadian manufacturing, stepping up. Okay, we saw it with the PPE. We saw it with the ventilators. We're seeing company shifting their production in a matter of 2-3 weeks. The speed is incredible, okay? Like, give you an example of Weaving Shop, who used to produce airbags, and now shifting into uniforms for first liners, first line operators. So that's a really good thing. Another big good news, great news that we have is we're seeing a shift in our own supply chain. That's a positive for Canada, where in the last 15, 20 years, and there was a lot of good things happening with international trade and globalization, but the reflection was always to go to the south or to go to Southeast Asia to buy raw material or to find suppliers. Now, what we're finding out and what we're looking at, there's lots of communication between manufacturers within Canada from east to west, and they're realizing that they're in their own backyard, they could find a supplier or they can find a piece of equipment that they were not even aware of. So this is creating a lot of good value in terms and a good business relationship within Canada. So that's also another positive one. Now, I'll get to the bad and I'll get to the ugly after, but the bad is the sales are down, and just this is the March view. So we just looked at the March numbers, and we're down close to 10%. Okay, close to 10% represent, and this, you take the picture here, it's about $15 billion of sales, okay, per month, okay, that manufacturing is. So this is down 10% just in March, okay? So we're talking about the last part of March that was hit by COVID-19. So we're expecting and we're looking forward to see the numbers for April and May, but we're expecting a hit there. And I'm precisely talking here about small and medium-sized company, because their window is very short. They could have a window of 2 or 4 months with cash flow. So if they lose their customer, they can wake up out of COVID. Let's say it's out, or we're back in September in a new normal, or a normal that is close to what we used to have with no market. So there's a big issue here that we're monitoring and we're following. Now the ugliest part is we also lost 250,000 jobs. Okay, and again that's just in the month of April. Okay, so that's 250 jobs. They're key for manufacturing. Our concern at EMC is to bring them back. Okay, so we're launching initiatives right now to make sure that we are connecting them to employers that are looking for people. And that, to give you a sense, we have 1.7 million jobs in manufacturing in Canada. So it's a drop of about 15% in 1 month. So there's certainly a big hit. However, this is not our first rodeo in manufacturing. We came, just as an example, the recession in 2008, 2009 was very beneficial for the sector in a way to reinvent themselves. So we're seeing a lot of movement and a lot of effort internally in our own network, how to adopt new technology, bring obviously special project in, and diversify their market at the same time.
Well, thank you very much for that update, JP, on the manufacturing sector. We always like to use this segment as a time where we can also ask our Global Vision grads, and you are one of them, some practical advice. We go back to 1993, where you were part of the team that led the very first NAFTA mission to southern U.S. and Mexico, and to present date. I mean, no one knows GV better than you. Experience it live from your own home. I was wondering if there was a piece of advice that you would like to share with our viewers. What would it be?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was a young adult when I joined Global Vision. Terry asked me to go across Canada and to recruit the next generation of leaders, and I was part of a trip to Mexico and the US as well, following up. That's in 1993, 94, was in China. What a great experience. For me, it was, I think it was a real game changer in a way of building my own confidence. So confidence was absolutely at the center of everything. Like being able, you know, to take on a position and to carry that position on and to bring it back to the community, because that was the key part of Global Vision. It's still very true to this day, is you go and you learn and you bring it back to your community and you share your knowledge and you try to obviously spread the news and the good news about how important it is, you know, to be competitive. And to this day, look at this here right behind. The struggle is real. We can help. It's all about competitiveness. And it was true when Terry launched the program 20, 30 years ago now, and it's still true today. So the confidence, the networking aspect, I learned the tricks that I learned with Global Vision. I use them every day. So that's a very important part of my job now, being the lead of an organization, and to establish these connections. So I would say these are the two main highlights.
Well, thank you, JP, for sharing that with us. And if you can just stay with us here, I believe we have a special question from our president and founder. But before we go there, I'd like to add some sunshine in everybody's life with my favorite reporter from Calgary, Alberta, Michael Badass, giving us some domestic and international news.
Good morning, Amy. We have some incredible news to report on today, possibly the best news ever to report on Some Great News. It has been announced this past week that the National Hockey League will be coming back to the playing this season under the return to play format. This is going to be an abbreviated and expanded playoff format with 24 teams as opposed to the regular 16 teams entering the playoffs. The bigger part of this is that of the 24 teams, 6 out of the 7 Canadian teams will be in the playoffs this year. So there's going to be lots of great playoff matchups and lots of great playoff hockey, not this spring, but this summer with the playoffs taking place in July and August. We have lots of good news to look forward to and great day for hockey fans.
Can I add a point here? Can I say this is great? I love your background there, and I hope the best for the Flames. But you know where my heart is. Go Habs, go! Absolutely. I wish we can meet at the finals. That would be great.
I wish for the same thing.
Well, thank you, Michael, for that some great news. Now we're going to take it over to our president and founder and my number one dad, Terry Clifford. Good afternoon, Dad.
Good afternoon, Amy, and everyone on the SGN desk. Even though the desk is spread over Canada. Michael, that's a great story about the NHL and our special guest today. I know he loves the Habs. He can't love them any more than I do, so this new format gives us a chance to be in the playoffs. And I look forward to seeing how they do and how Canada does in July and August. Jean-Pierre, this is and thank you very much, Jean-Pierre, for your testimonial about the value of global vision. It's so great to be able to reach back to you and rediscover what it was like as a young person entering business with global vision at that time. A very critical time. We were just completing the whole study about free trade with Mexico, and you were right there at the front of it with that team. So I really appreciated that. But you did mention China. I'm glad you did, because that's the question I want to pose to you today. I think your organization that you're the CEO of has a wonderful opportunity right now, thanks to what happened in Vancouver with the Supreme Court ruling to deny Meng her trip back to China. And this is going to dramatically change the relationship between China and Canada. But I see it as a real opportunity, particularly for your sector and your organization. How do you feel about that?
I feel very good, Terry, and this is an excellent point. And to expand on Canada's manufacturing, the good news is we are well diversified. Okay, a lot of countries, they have one or two subsector of manufacturing. Like they would be very big on aerospace or automotive. We have a bit of everything in Canada. We're very strong on food processing. We're very strong on metal processors. We have automotive. We have aerospace. We have textile. We have plastic. We have chemical products. We have electronics. Like there's about apparel, obviously, but there's about 15 subsector within our manufacturing sector. So the conversation right now is, as we typically see a supply chain, is like including the international part. But the conversation now is to build a domestic supply chain. And that's very exciting. That's very exciting about it. We at EMC are doing opportunity alerts. So we have a network of thousands of manufacturers. So they have the possibility to communicate an opportunity when it comes to raw material or suppliers, where they're looking for supplier or business relationship. And this is taking up like crazy right now because the connections are happening. and they're finding out that their suppliers that they're looking for is possibly in their backyard, you know, and they don't need to travel. In some case, they will still need to travel. I'm not saying that there's not going to be any trade happening between countries, but that's a very positive one.
So that you spoke earlier about how proud you were, and I think all Canadians are, about the turnaround. If big corporations like General Motors stop making cars and make face masks, I believe it was. This is, and CAE in Montreal did the same thing. So these were world-class companies in Canada that responded to the Canadian challenge. And on a broader scale now, you see hundreds of your members spread across Canada reinvigorated by the possibility of being able to produce more products for Canada that are Canada-based for Canadians, but also for Canadians to sell abroad. Have I got that right?
That's right. That's right. And we're very agile. I mean, we have a segment of our members that are large size employers, but they really represent under 5% of our membership. The rest are, I mean, 67%. I was looking at the latest number. 67% are small companies that are under 100 employees. So their ability to shift their production is there. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge that they're taking on top of obviously dealing with how to manage the COVID, and how to organize their work with health and safety, which really right now is one of the hottest pressure point that they're facing. But yeah.
Well, Jean-Pierre, I really appreciate I think this is the first time in Global Vision where we've had the opportunity to hear from someone like yourself explain the role of small business in Canada and really how it benefits so many Canadians. And I think you've really enlightened us all today, and I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry. And I'll close on this. I will always remember when you offer me the job as a leader, and you mentioned to say there's going to be a difficult task because you're going to be leading people the same age than you, but you will act. You'll need to act as a leader, and for me that always stayed in my mind, and I took it as a real challenge. So that stays with me forever, for sure. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Amy, over to you.
Yes. Well, thank you, Terry. I'd like to thank all of our guests and reporters for joining us today for another episode of Some Great News. I encourage our viewers to stay tuned for next week, where Global Vision will be launching an online program where we can help thousands of young Canadians still get the experience that matters. So stay tuned, and in the meantime, stay safe and strong, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.